And as we breathe together, it's a unification. It's something that we all share, whether it be an animal, a plant, or another being. We all breathe. Whether it be a fish in the water, we still are doing the function of taking in and receiving and giving. So I like to start with the breath to unify us as we join together. So just breathing in and then breathing out. And in this time of lots going on in the universe and the world, we're looking for our calm spot in the midst of that. And in looking, we have to look inward, because we're actually the calm spot that we've been looking for. We're actually that centering force that brings peace, not only to ourselves, but to others. So the idea of looking gives us the opportunity to find ourselves. That which is looking is the center, is the focus. So imagine yourself. Imagine within yourself a solid beam of light that goes down through your feet and into the earth. It comes up through your legs, through the middle of your body, and out to the top of your head. And you create the calm, the stillness in the center of the storm. It's not outside of us, something that we seek. It is who we are. And we can rest in that, because we don't have to find something outside of ourselves. We don't have to wait for someone else or something to bring it to us, because we create it. We are that centering force. And as it runs through our body and through our feet into the earth touches us in that same beam, and she embraces it. And she sends it to the core of her own being. And we are centered with the earth and centered in ourselves. And that gives us a great place to observe from, because we can see whatever is coming around us, whether it be our own thoughts or whether it be someone we're talking to or something that we're observing, another state, another country, another space. We return to that center, always returning to the center. And in that center, our bodies can relax, our stomachs can let go of the tension, and we can observe that our stomachs are letting go of that tension. And we might notice a thought at the same time that we notice that tension. And just the other day, I was having a fear response. And I noticed, and I was like, oh. And for a moment, I believed that fear. I thought, it's true, it's real. what it's telling me is true, it's real. But as soon as I quit thinking that thought, as soon as I observed it, the fear was no longer real. And I realized that it was the thought that was generating the fear. And that there was no fear without the thinking. And so I relaxed with observing the thought and being in the center of my own being again, noticing that light that comes from through the top of my head, through my body, down to the soles of my feet and into the earth. And when it plunges into the earth, it's met with a exact response. The earth bonds to it and welcomes. It says, welcome. That's right. Be in the center of yourself. There's plenty of love and there's plenty of peace. And we can share it together through our own beings with everything around us. So that we become the calm spot that our own beings are looking for and that others can resonate to. Every frequency, every vibration that you are penetrates the atmosphere around you and touches others. And they can choose to resonate with it, or they may want to get away from it, and that's okay. You're offering the expression of centered peace to yourself and to others. So let's go deeply into that space. Let's see that light so bright inside of ourselves. And it's interesting to notice that there is this light inside of ourselves. And we allow it to grow to a bigger light, to a beam. And we settle into that, into the comfort of it. And we take our minds from the thinking area, from up in our brains, and we allow that to merge into the center of ourselves. It's almost like diving into a pool of that light and just noticing everything about that light. How big it is. How it moves through our body, through our feet. How nothing can actually harm it or touch it or infringe on it. That we can merge with it and allowing our minds to be absorbed into it, creating that spacious center. And as we move into that center, we notice how vast it is. It's not just like a little 6-inch beam. It's like when you're in the center of it, it surrounds you. It fills your body. And we can feel the vibration of the earth coming up to meet that light that we're putting down through our feet into the earth. And it connects and it merges in. And just like a vine that grows on this planet, it entwines with that of the earth. And it becomes more spacious. We notice that our stomachs relax more, that our shoulders relax. And we can just get comfy in this spaciousness. Diving deep into it, breathing into it, And we can notice that as we begin to think about any particular thing, that it's not all consuming. That thought does not have to consume us. And it's almost like this magnet. Thought is like a magnet that wants to pull us into it. And we realize the difference between sitting in the light in the center of our being and being pulled into a thought. And we play with that. And why do we want to play with that? Because as we learn to know the difference between our thoughts and our being, there's so much more peace available to us. Let's get comfy in that beam of light inside of us. And let's relax into it and play with it. And let our focus be on that light. Take everything with your attention towards that light. Notice its color. Notice its vibration. And merge into that color. Let everything become that color. Let it surround you. Let your body take on the vibration of that light. Let the peace of that light fill every inch of your body. Let it radiate out from your skin. Let it radiate out an inch away from your skin, 4 inches away. Let it surround your body. And from this space, notice any thought that comes to mind, anything that occurs to you, whether it be something from today, something from the past. Just notice that thought. And can you feel the magnetic pull of that thought? How it wants you to join it. And this is how you begin to notice that unless a thought has your attention, it has no power. So just notice it. Notice that it weakens as it doesn't get your attention. And feel yourself relaxing into that beam of light that you are. And the thought is a little more distant from you. And notice how its beliefs and whatever it says has less impact when it doesn't get your full attention. And feel that. And notice again that you're in the middle of this beam of light, that you're merged with it, and how that feels, how relaxing it is to your body. And appreciate the power that you have to create this calm spot in the midst of everything. And that is not an arduous journey. There's nothing to overcome. It's just a matter of attention. And as you hold that vibration and sense into it, and allow it to enter your brain and merge with all the thoughts that are in there. bringing peace and calm to every thought. Now that one thought that wanted your attention, imagine traveling out of this beam of light and going closer to that thought. Get very close to it without completely merging. And notice how it has almost a pull, a magnetic pull. It wants your thought energy. It wants your attention energy. And keep the focus on awareness of the thought versus becoming the thought. Now, what's the difference in being aware and attentive of a thought versus merging with it? When we merge with a thought, our bodies get tension. We start to feel the energy of that thought. We feel its feelings about things, and that changes the structure of our body. Maybe we're getting upset about something, and then it's like, oh wow, all that energy is going into it. It's feeding that thought. And then we slide back into that beam of light that we are, having gotten close to that thought, having focused our attention on it without merging with it. And sometimes when we merge deeply into a thought, it's almost like a big pan of water. And when you merge into that thought, you just dunk your head into that big pan of water, and you get in it, and you think all the things it wants to think about. And you decide like, oh yeah, that means this, and if I should have said that, and if I had just done this, it would have not. And then you realize like how much it's coursing through the chemistry of your body, because that's what a thought does. It has a particular body chemistry. And so there again, you take your head out of that water. It's almost like coming up for air, and go back to that light that you are, that beam of light. And rest in that, separating yourself from the thought. Allowing yourself calm. See, it's not really finding the calm spot. It's allowing yourself to be calm. Allowing yourself to be that center. Allowing yourself to become aware that your attention, that your conscious attention is your superpower. And yes, I mean superpower. Your attention is consciousness. And your consciousness expands the more you use it. Attention which seems so minuscule in a way, is actually the superpower. Remember, as children run up and say, hey, look at this, and they jerk on your shirt or your pants leg. They want your attention. And when you look at them and you give them attention, it energizes them. They feel noticed. They feel seen. They feel heard. The same thing is true of our thoughts. Our thoughts want our attention. The media wants your attention. Now it turns into dollars when you spend money, but what everything wants is your attention, because that's your energy. That's your consciousness, because that's all there actually is consciousness. And so as we share that with others, whether it be friends at a table, how many times have we had a conversation with a friend and that friend says, "Thank you. Thank you for hearing me, for listening." It means more than any other element. And have we asked ourselves why? Why is attention so critical, so important? Because it's a commodity that people have turned into other things. If I have your attention, perhaps I have your love. If I have your attention, perhaps you'll buy this particular thing. Because attention is the flow and the exchange. So what do we want to give our attention to? And what kind of attention do we want to give? We all know what it's like to give frustrated attention. Oh yes, yes, let me watch you do this. Yeah, And that's a frustrated level of attention. But when we pause and we go into the center of our own being, that beam of light, and from that space we're aware of another human being, they are getting conscious attention. You are sharing from the deepest part of your soul to that person, and you are connecting to their soul. And the benefit is the expansion of your own being at the same time. And from that place, you are sharing peace and calm and love and your truest self. And that space is so beautiful for yourself and for the other, the person that you're sharing it with. And this is true if you share it with an animal, a pet, if your cat or your dog or iguana, whatever you have, sits in your lap, and you truly go into that space and begin to touch that animal or that person, they'll notice the difference in the attention. And you will notice the difference in the attention that you're bringing. And that consciousness, that expansion. So whatever gets your attention, be very judicious with that. It's getting your superpower. And most of the time, our thoughts are sucking from that energy. Because just like a child who tugs on your shirt and says, "Hey, watch this, see me, feel me, notice me," that's what a thought is doing. A thought is begging for your attention. Because when it has your attention, it has your energy. It has all of your superpower. So is that thought worth dedicating all of your power to? But just simply shifting your attention from becoming the thought, and you'll begin to feel it, the difference between being in your centered self, aware of a thought. The difference there is there's a thought, that's what it's thinking. These are the emotions associated with it. That's awareness of a thought. But when the thought grabs you and becomes you, and you are like, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, how could they do this, how can I do that, oh my God, I was so crazy, what was I thinking? Anytime you ask yourself, what was I thinking, use that as a clue to go, wait, I have merged with a thought, and I am not that thought. I am the consciousness wherein that thought plays out. And how much consciousness do I want to give to that thought? Or would I like to create that calm space for me? Because I am a creator. And I create that space. And the way I do it is I go back to the center. I breathe in. I follow that breath right into the center of me, into that light. And there's that thought. Yes. Now I'm going to give it my conscious attention. And when we give a thought our conscious attention, that's what it's really been hoping for. Because your conscious attention is freedom. It gives the thought the opportunity to heal. Your consciousness, at all points in time, when you are conscious, you are healing yourself and everything around you. Just simply through conscious attention. It is the most powerful tool, way of being that you have. Your conscious attention to a thought allows it to finally express what is at its root. It isn't what it's talking about. It's at the root. What created it? What launched its way of thinking, its way of feeling, its way of being. And for a while, you'll notice those things. And then your thoughts will begin to just want your attention, not so much to dig so deeply in their roots, because they'll begin to realize, you know what? Pretty much they're all rooted in fear or lack. And then all they want is your conscious love. And a thought will come up, and you'll know basically where it comes from. And you'll begin to love it. And your thoughts will so desire that conscious love and to be embraced into that, to be held, to be appreciated, to be cared for. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter if your thought thinks something awesome about you or something horrible about you. It's just a thought. And you become aware that you're more than thought, that you are the conscious presence of love on this planet. And that awareness is so precious to you that you don't want to give your time to thoughts anymore, to fears, to any of those sorts of things, because you have the antidote. You have the calm center. You are that calm center. And as you rest in that space inside of yourself, like the Buddha sitting inside yourself, and you begin to exude that love out of you, And you kiss each thought with that love. And those thoughts melt because all they ever wanted was some love and some attention. And they're finally getting it. They're not having to suck you dry for it. They're not having to reenact themselves for it. No, you're giving it to them by resting like the Buddha inside of yourself, inside that light, in that center, that you are so spacious that you can embrace each and every one of your thoughts, good, bad, or indifferent, that space becomes so large that you can begin to embrace all the thought around you, whether it's yours or someone else's, and that the look that comes through your eyes is such love that people forget what they were saying, and they were talking and they were saying something, but they feel that love. And you create the calmness around you and around your home and around your family and around your friends and around your enemies, to the point you realize you don't have any. And the most wonderful enemy that you realize isn't an enemy is yourself. You don't have to fight you anymore, because you have the space to give you the love and attention that you've needed for so long, that you have the space to give you the peace that you've desired, that you are the space. You are the space. And you are the creator. And what lovely space would you like to create? Your superpower is your conscious attention. Being attentive to the vibration within yourself, which is love, which is peace, and expressing that to every other being on this planet, and first and foremost, expressing it to your own mind. Your mind has been waiting for you to show up and love each and every thought, to love yourself. And as you do so, the calm center that is you heals not only yourself, but everyone that you come in contact with. That's your superpower. It's not complicated. It's not out of your reach. It is the space that you are in right now. And it is the gift of you. And what a precious gift. And when you sit in that space and you feel that gift to yourself first and then to others, as you sit and then you enjoy that space, there's so little time for anger and frustration. And there's all the time in the world to love those spaces in you that feel anger, that feel frustration. Conscious attention is the great healer. You don't have to think the right thought. You don't have to find the right words to be the antidote. The antidote is the natural vibration of conscious attention. You don't have to have the perfect answer for the thought that comes up and says, feel me, touch me. It is the consciousness the vast consciousness that you are, because you are the source. You're not separate from it. And as source, when you look upon your own thoughts, the love that you are, that consciousness is, touches those thoughts. You don't have to think the right thing. Just touch them with that vibration, and they will heal themselves. Because that's all they ever wanted. Just like a child that tugs on your shirt and says, "Notice me." But notice me with your full attention. Notice me with that loving being vibration that you are. And I encourage you to touch each and every one of your thoughts that way. And to touch your friends that way. And to touch your animals that way. And to touch your life that way. Why not live in the fullest power of yourself? Totally at the center and calm. Creating the peace that you seek. And it doesn't matter what's happening around you. It doesn't mean that you can't be peaceful. It doesn't mean that you have to love everything that's going on around you. Or like it. But be present to it. Because your conscious attention and that presence that you are is going to create love and beauty and spaciousness. And it's going to be so much easier to be peaceful because you recognize that you are that peace and that you're not separate from it. You're not waiting for someone else to show up with it because you brought it all yourself. And take a moment with that when you no longer have to wait for someone else to bring the love, to bring the peace. How free are you? How joyful. You don't need anybody else to show up because you arrived. And did you know that you were that powerful? That the keys to everything are inside of yourself. That you're missing nothing. That you have the treasure that yourself and everyone else has been looking for. And they have it too. And then what a party that is. Because as you sit across from your family, sitting in the vibration of who you are, they begin to resonate that in themselves. When I first began to feel the love inside of myself, I had to imagine it. But that's the beauty of consciousness. It'll meet you. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right. Just go for it. Because it will meet you. Because it is you, and it's not going to let you fail. You can't get it wrong. So take the time to just begin to notice. And notice the little things. Take it when you get a moment of, oh my God, I've been thinking about that for 10 minutes. That's a win. That's consciousness. It is beginning to create within you the skill for conscious attention. So every time you think, dang it, I did it again, then celebrate. Because that's consciousness, that you are aware of that. And take the time to go to as close to center as you can. Because as you do it, it develops, it reaches out for you. Because conscious attention is consciousness. And consciousness seeks consciousness. So every attempt, even if you think it's a failed attempt, is actually progress. Consciousness that you are is already seeking you. It's like this. When a thought wants to seek consciousness, if you think, I want to seek consciousness, if you think that, it's because consciousness is already in you. Because consciousness created the thought to seek itself. So you cannot fail. Because to seek consciousness, the seed is already there. The desire to do it came from the fact that you are doing it. So keep it up. And laugh at yourself. I used to think, oh, when I started doing it, I was like, all right, oh, this is what it feels like. And that's what it felt like. But if I went every time inside thinking it's going to feel the same way, I wasn't allowing consciousness to just grow and to just come. And remember that beautiful saying that which you're seeking is the seeker. And what that is saying is the sheer act of seeking brings you home. Because consciousness is the desire to seek. Until consciousness goes, oh, it was me all along. So it's like, you cannot fail. So you don't have to stress it. Enjoy it. Enjoy oh crap, I've done it again. Oh man, I was thinking about that. Oh my gosh. And if you want to play with it, do something that gets you rejected, because boy, doesn't that get the thoughts going. Anything we do where we feel rejection, boy, that's going to crank it up. And then you can love that aspect. And that's because we hate rejection. We hate it. Oh my God. And that's simply because as children, we looked for someone's attention. And we didn't get that conscious attention. And it felt like rejection. And that is why self-acceptance and self-love is so important. Because you're healing that little conscious being that came in and looked for everybody else to be conscious. And when that little conscious child you were didn't get that, it felt rejected. And so now you give all those little pieces of yourself your conscious attention and love. And you'll be the happiest person on this planet. When I get stuck in my head, because I do too. Like, if I go out on a limb and I reach out to somebody and they reject me. And hey, that's happened to me recently. I think about it like, oh, maybe I should have said it this way, or maybe I could have said it that way. And I just get that thought rolling, and I start feeling that and start noticing how that energy moves. Don't worry so much about the thought. But if I trace rejection in myself, like I think somebody's rejected me, it digs deep into my solar plexus. That's where I feel it. And I'm like, ugh. And then it kind of comes up and gets in my head. And then it's just like churning. That's the energy of it. All I need to do is quit worrying about what it says and just track the energy of it. And it goes up here. And as I do that, as I track the energy, I become aware that it's not rejection. It's an energy. And it's an energy that moves in a specific way. And then with my conscious attention, I can let it move and move and move, and I'm not listening to it. I'm not hearing the words. I'm just feeling the energy of it. And I allow it to do that. And then I allow it to keep coursing. And I notice it more. And then I open up that energy inside me that's love. And I let that love touch it. And it may shift that energy to move differently. And I'm not trying to do it with words. Because words are the wrapping around energy. Don't pay attention to the words. You're already the conscious being that can heal yourself. Quit looking at words. Follow the energy. And as I follow that energy of rejection, as it churns, and I let it, like a little dog that runs around in a circle, they just go outside and they're like, ear, 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 till they wear themselves out. I let that rejection just wear itself out. And then I embrace it. And imagine pulling it in to that love energy. And it moves differently. The problem for a lot of us is that we believe that we have to have the antidote thought to a thought. Like if I have the right thought to give to my feeling of rejection, it's not about a thought. It's just an energy that's running that wasn't loved somehow when it was little. So just love it. And that's why words are so unuseful. There's not the right words to heal rejection. Because rejection isn't, that's just the word, the wrapping around it. What heals is noticing the energy, how it moves, and applying the loving force that you are to it. And it can happen just like a mental, like a imaginary hug. I notice that beam inside me, that loving vibration inside me. I imagine it. And as I imagine it, the beauty of conscious energy is that it creates it. See, you're a creator as well. Your conscious energy creates the vibration necessary to love and heal the vibration that we call rejection. And that vibration is your own consciousness coming to meet you. And it's not just going to meet you halfway. It's going to take you all the way. And it doesn't have to be arduous. Consistent. Consistently trying and going for it. But when you begin to touch the real you, it's a pleasure. It's freedom. And who doesn't like taking moments for freedom every day? To get to know the real you. To understand your superpower. to let that consciousness overwhelm you. Let it pour through your veins. Let it kiss all the thoughts in your mind. Enjoy the pleasure of it, the sensations of it. And it'll be worth every single rejection, every trapped thought, every embarrassing moment. It'll be worth it to meet the real you. And to fall madly in love with that real you. The superpower that you are.